Then of course the firms prefer the option base to a spot wage option if the cost of offering spot wage is greater than the cost of offering option-based pay. The following table summarizes the calibration results for this model for different levels of employees' risk aversion (RAW) and firm expected return (R). The authors also compute the retention value, which is the value of forfeit options in the case the employee leaves the firm. In the first case, we see that transaction costs will have to be very large for a retention argument to be valid in explaining option grants. The second case leads to much more plausible estimates of the renegotiation costs necessary to justify the use of options. In this case, results for all firms suggest that firms benefit from using stock options at any level of transaction costs, even if spot wages fluctuate between $2,000 and $20,000 over a short period, and provides evidence that a retention model can justify the use of stock options. The third case combines the sorting and retention models by assuming the employee is optimistic regarding their share price. In this case, we see that retention value grows as employees value their option more and the critical value of turnover cost falls to zero. Therefore, the second and third case in Table 4 provide evidence that some combination of sorting and retention could be operating in the decision of firms to issue options. Now, in order to have full confirmation of the models, the authors ran a series of logic regressions to analyze which firms and under which conditions broad-based stock option plans are used. Let's go straight to Table 5 to analyze the characteristics of these regressions. I already provided the definition for SIG plan. SIG plan 2 is an alternative definition and equals 1 if the value of options granted was at least $1,000. SIG plan 3 adjusts for employment growth and assumes that the option grants are given to new employees and is equal to 1 if the value of option granted to each new employee is at least $2,500. In the explanatory variables, they control for firm size, firm volatility and industry volatility, whether the firm is a new economy firm, industry volatility share, which reflects the degree to which firms' returns are related to the returns of other firms, and finally they include variables that proxy for variance in potential employees' beliefs about future returns and financing constraints. First, note the negative relation between firm size and broad option plan and the positive relation with new economy. This means that option plans are more common at smaller and new economy firms. This constitutes a difference with previous literature, but it can be explained by the definition of non-executives that the authors of this paper use. Second, and in contrast to the basic agency theory of an inverse risk-incentive relation, the results show a strong positive relation between risk and option plans. This strictly contradicts the central prediction of the incentive model. Taking a closer look at column 2, we see that this relation is largely driven by industry volatility rather than firm-specific volatility, which is consistent with the retention model that predicts that non-executive option plans will be negatively related to firm volatility, but positively related to the volatility of the set of firms that compete for hiring employees. Now, if we think that industry volatility is correlated with the variance in employees' expectations about the future of the firm, then these results also support the sorting hypothesis. Finally, despite the difficulty of distinguishing the sorting and cash constraint hypothesis, the authors believe that the results support the idea that financing constraints are not related to option grants as shown in column 4. So to conclude, stock options are an inefficient incentive mechanism for middle managers, and therefore authors reject an incentive-based explanation for broad-based stock option plan. Results are consistent with both the sorting and the retention models. This is, firms adopting broad option plans are those for which the return-cost relation of attracting and retaining employees is particularly high. Employees are too expensive a source of capital to justify the cash constraint explanation.
Created using Powtoon.